Okay, good evening once again. Good evening, good evening. Good evening. I know we have been moved from Google Meet to YouTube due to the limitation that we had with Google Meet. It could only allow 100 people at a time, and we apologize for that inconvenience, but we are continuing with our live session today with the mentors just to answer some questions that are very pertinent that we have received and some that you ask on the call. As introduced earlier, my name is Dr. Joyce, and I will be answering some questions and interacting with each one of you on the call. So just to know that everybody is now fully joined onto YouTube, please just let me see some reactions on the comment section just to know that you can hear me loud and clear, and then we can dive right into the questions. I know I was answering a question from Julius, and I hope, Julius, you've joined back again. Please give me a thumbs up or reaction that you're still on the call, and I will be able to just wind up and conclude on the question that you had asked. And I think I saw one or two questions around the CV, what's really important, and so forth. And I think we'll be able to answer that. So I would like to see some reactions just to know that everybody is on the call, back on the call on the YouTube channel, and you're able to hear us loud and clear. All right, so can I begin just to see some reactions in the comment section? That would be great just to know that you are able to hear me loud and clear this evening. I know we have taken some time, but let's get going in that sense. All right. In that sense. All right. So any reactions, team? All right. So I have a few questions. So maybe I'll start going, and then we can pick up with any other questions that were posted. So I will begin with a question that Julius had asked. And I think Julius will find this answer later on if he hasn't joined or when he joins. Julius had a question that as a student, how do you get to run your career? How do you get to build your career? And I think when I was responding earlier, I was giving an experience that I had in my university days, that I'm one of the students that did not receive career guidance when I was being enrolled in university, and everything that I did was try and error. From registration, I was picking course codes on registration in a queue, and I didn't even know what courses were. But what happened is that as I started the semester, I realized there are certain courses that I really didn't want to do. And that's you managing your career, right? You start from that point. So I'll give you a background. My mother wanted me to do natural sciences. Specifically, she wanted me to do doctorate in to be a doctor, a veterinary doctor, because I love animals. I love to just take care of animals, feed animals. I used to do that in high school. I don't know if you've ever done that, but we used to have a piggery, so I used to feed. So she thought um, I would be a veterinary doctor, but I knew deep down that sciences were not my thing. I really didn't like dissecting frogs. We used to do a lot of dissecting of frogs. I didn't like dy, dx in mathematics, and I knew that those courses are the ones that take you into that direction. So the point of you managing your career starts by you discovering yourself. You need to know, what are you passionate about? What are your strengths? What do you value more? So for me, I knew natural sciences is not my thing, and I needed to go against my mother. So I went into social sciences. I knew studying things that are socially relatable to human beings in that sense is what was passionate. So to Julius, one of the first things on how you manage your career is first understand yourself. Know your passions, know your strengths, know your interests, because it's from those things that you are really passionate about, and knowing yourself in the direction that you get to go. But you'll find that you'll be like me, myself, right? Yes, I did say that I didn't want to do natural sciences. I went into social sciences, but I really didn't even know exactly what I was going to do in social sciences until I got into third year. Then I had a light bulb moment after doing all the courses in my 100 series, my 200 series, up to my 300 level. That's when now I was branching out into majoring. Then I realized that development studies was something I was passionate about, and public administration. At that point, I dropped the whole mathematics, the whole economics. So, Julius, to in a nutshell, how you manage your career, first and foremost, you discover who you are. And as you know your strengths, your weaknesses, your passions and interests, it gets to drive you in that sense, right? And when that happens, then you begin to drive and make career goals around it. I know sometimes students will say, look, I'm still a student. Why should I make career goals? That is very important. You need to understand, okay, this course that I'm picking, which company should I go to? Who should I apply for either voluntary work or partnership or internship? So these are very important. So one of the things on how you manage your career, self-discovery, know who you are. Number two, make career goals. Even at a student level, I have been doing career goal setting as far back as my student level, even when it was not even structured. Think of your dream job. What is it that you want to do? Because when you know what you really want to do, when you figure it out, because most of you or all of you are in your 400 level, meaning that you're at your last year and you are getting into the professional space. So by now you need to know, in this that I've done, Julius, done international relations, which companies should I go for, which companies are attracted by international relations, and so forth, because that helps you to channel your focus. And when you apply for voluntary work or internship or jobs, it helps you in that sense. Number three, how you manage your career. Be a networker. There is now LinkedIn, and I think you have learned that in this session. Be a networker. Get onto LinkedIn, clean up your page, updates all the little nitty-gritties that you were taught on this course. Go ahead and just update your LinkedIn. I know Dr. Akan has emphasized about the CV, not packing it in some inbox on your computer, but bring it out there to the world on LinkedIn. Get to brand yourself personally in international relations and any other passions and interests that you have. So in a nutshell, Julius, those are the three nuggets I can give you on how you can manage your career. Know yourself, set your career goals, be a networker, brand yourself, be out there and show what you're able to do, and your career will get rolling in that sense. All right. So if I have an audience, I'd like to know and just get some reactions that you're able to hear me loud and clear. So that particular question was for Julius, and I hope, Julius, you've gotten value for that question that you have gotten. So I got another question, which might maybe be related to answering Julius's question. It says, how do I know I have chosen a correct course? How do I know I've chosen a correct course? The question I would ask you is, how do you feel about it? How do you feel about it? How do you feel about the course? Like I mentioned earlier on, my mother wanted me to do natural sciences. And every time I thought about natural sciences, I just felt like I was in the wrong place. When we're doing formulas, I just couldn't understand. I couldn't understand dy dx. I couldn't understand why we should be dissecting a frog in biology. And there was that a program about peeling the onion in biology. I just didn't like all that. So for me personally, when you ask me how do I know I've chosen a correct course, I know by the joy it gives me. You know how when you're doing something or when you're passionate about something, like I'm very passionate about mentorship and coaching, and you can see the way I'm brimming with excitement in the way I'm talking. So this is one of the things, how do you feel when you have picked a particular course? I'll tell you, I was dragging every time there was a time to go for the labs in mathematics and do quizzes. I used to fringe, and I failed frankly and terribly. So, and I never liked that class. I just needed that class to go away. So just like from the previous question that I'd answered for Julius, you need to know. And sometimes earlier in your university days, you can change courses. But I think as you go along, it's very difficult. Maybe at 300 level or 400 level, it's very difficult to change courses. I explained to you that first semester, first year, I did mathematics. I flunked. Second semester, before I could go anywhere, I didn't even want to do mathematics anymore. I told my assistant registrar I needed to change. Is there a course that has no prerequisite that I need to replace mathematics with something else, and I got philosophy. Look, it wasn't bad. It wasn't the best of courses that I would take, but it wasn't mathematics. So that's one of the things. So sometimes at the beginning of the semester, at the beginning of the year, when you're starting out, sometimes you might have had wrong choices in courses, but most likely first year-ish, you can play around changing courses, but as you go on, it becomes very difficult to change your courses. So how do I know I've chosen the correct course? It's how does it make you feel? For me, doing mathematics or thinking about doing physics and chemistry to make those points for me to get into vet school was just a nightmare, and I knew it was an incorrect course. I hope I've answered somebody. So that takes me to another question that somebody asked. I'm in my fourth year and I don't like the course. What should I do? I'm so sorry. I really have giggled because I understand how you feel. I understand how you feel. But one thing I can say is that for now, a fourth year, it's for you. For now, it's fourth year. It's too late to change your program. So my advice is that go through the program, finish your fourth year, and as you get to go into the field professionally, you find that I'll give you an example. Just to answer your question. So when I finished my fourth year, my 4-year program, I majored in development studies administration, right? So what got to happen is that I got to find a job. And when I found a job, I thought, development studies is associated with you working in an NGO or working for the UN and so forth. And by that time, it was a vibe. I don't know about now, but it was a vibe that if you did development studies, you'll get into an NGO. And lo and behold, I ended up being an assistant administrator in a church organization, totally different from what I envisioned that I would be working in an NGO, right? And I did work there for 6 months. And then after 6 months, I got a job. It wasn't an NGO. It was it was in a telco, but totally something else. I went doing customer service. I totally didn't study for that, but that's the opportunity that came out. So, and what happened is that by the time I was in customer service for 5 years, can you imagine? I moved from doing development studies at a degree level, then I went to do a master's in marketing, and I stayed in customer service for 5 years. But then I still found that it wasn't something I really wanted to do professionally. I'm very good at marketing in different segments of marketing that I do privately without it being in the corporate. But what I'm trying to say is that at a point then I had an aha moment that I was very passionate with human resource. So you can imagine I spent 5 years working in customer service, and then I went into HR and I did a master's in marketing. Then I went into HR and did a master's in it. So what I'm trying to say is that your fourth year degree is not a waste in as much as you don't like it. It has happened, you got it. Whatever circumstances led to it, either it's by points or by choice, or your parents forced you to get into that course. But the good news is that it's not a waste of that degree. That degree will get you one day a job, and it might not be in the area of the degree, it might be into something else. But one thing is that you can still branch out. Like I did branch out. It took me 5 years to get to the profession I wanted, but I still got there. And I can tell you right now that those 5 years felt like I wasted my time. But as I get it through into higher ranks into my current profession as an HR person, I find that the 5 years experience I had in customer service and how to deal with clients, how to deal with people, how to be paid
Please, can somebody confirm if you can hear me?
Yes, Doc, loud and clear.
All right, thank you so much. There's confirmation that you can hear me. So we are going to straight away go and answer the next question that was asked. The question is that I'm in the fourth year and I don't like my course. What should I do? I'm in the fourth year and I don't like my course. What should I do? I think Dr. Joyce already attempted to answer the question. And I'm just going to add on what she was already talking about. So when it comes to your career, okay, when it comes to your career, I think it is important to have an understanding that whatever it is that you are doing, you are not wasting your time. So you have already done 4 years of your course and you don't like it. What is important is for you to start identifying what you love. What is it that you love to do? And when you do it, you feel so excited. When you do that particular thing, you feel very excited. You have to start working on that which you love to do, even as you have gotten, because soon you're about to receive your degree. You're about to get your degree because you have done 4 years. Now, you have to appreciate that the 4 years that you have spent and the 4 years knowledge that you have gained is not going to go to waste, because whatever it is that you are going to start doing in the marketplace with that, course, that you have started and the degree that you have gotten, it is important, therefore, to start developing your career. So let me give you an example. We were having a Zoom session or a session like the session we are having right now with medical students. And this particular student has done 7 years to become a doctor. And during the call, he said that he doesn't like medicine. He doesn't like blood. He doesn't like to see people sorrowful. He doesn't like, there are so many things that he itemized that he didn't love about being a medical doctor. Now you can only imagine. So he started medicine because the father was supposed to be a medical doctor and he didn't make it. So he kind of forced the son to go and study medicine. So now he's in the seventh year. He's about to wear the coat and the stethoscope, and he doesn't love seeing blood. He doesn't love, he cannot stand people crying and losing their beloved ones. It takes 2, 3 weeks for him to heal from such type of things. So let me give you an example. From there, it is not a lost 7 years. This is what we had to do. When we asked him, what do you love to do? What is it that you love to do? And when you do that, you feel very fulfilled. Guess what he said? Baking. He loved baking. Really, you love baking and you went to school 7 years to go and study medicine. But like I told you, it is not the lost years. So this particular young man, we have counseled him and coached him. He has learned. He has started growing ginger, um, uh, and all these cinnamon, garlic, and all those particular, herbs and spices that are promoting healthy lifestyle. And he is going to set up a bakery. This particular bakery is going to be health lifestyle bakery. So he's going to be baking cakes. He's going to be baking bread, but this time he'll be baking healthy bread. He'll be baking healthy cakes. The mixtures of turmerics and gingers and all these garlics and everything that he is going to be prescribing to people who have issues with their cholesterol, who have issues with high blood pressure, because he's a medical doctor. So when he is measuring whatever loaf of bread that he'll be making, or measuring certain quantities of how he needs to bake that cake, it is going to be coming from a medical point of view. Come on now. Just imagine how powerful this young man will be. We are still working with him. So 7 years was not a waste of time. Just imagine you are going to a bakery to buy bread from a bakery where it's a medical doctor advising you the contents or the mixtures that are in that particular dough that they have baked. So he is going to be a business person because he loves business. He loves baking. So he's going to own, a bakery that is going to change the state of people's lives. This is where most of the people from the hospital, which he doesn't like, from the hospital, these people will be going to his bakery to buy foods. He's going to open a restaurant where he'll be cooking healthy foods from the medical point of view. So he's going the herbal route. He's taking the herbal route, encouraging people on how to take, vegetables, how to mix, how much proteins, how much carbohydrates, how much are you going to add to your meal. Just imagine what is going to happen. So listen to me. As you ask this question, I want you to know you haven't lost your 4 years. Start working on what you love to do. Start developing it. Start adding skill to it. Take that particular hobby or that particular talent to school. Improve it. Then add with the 4 years you have spent. Watch a bomb you are going to be. You will be an amazing person because a combination of what you have studied and your hobbies put together, as you develop, you are going to be very unique in the way you are going to start expressing yourself in your career. The next question is that my brother finished 3 years ago and he does not have a job yet. How do I become employable and not end up just languishing even after I have finished my education? Very good question. How do you become employable? One of the things is exactly what you're doing. I need you to know as you are listening to me right now, some of you up to now, you failed to open your LinkedIn, account. It is mandatory because on the LinkedIn account, this is the largest professional platform. And it is important for you to know that when you are still a student, you have opportunities to start building your CV, to start building your career. So one of the things is exactly what you were doing this particular course, Set 4111. It is placing you at an advantage more than another ordinary person who has just done a particular career course. I want you to know that in order for you to be employable, you have to be intentional. What is it that you're doing right now before you step out of that school? Are you volunteering? Just echoing the words that Dr. Akan has been speaking on some of the videos we are listening to. Have you been volunteering? In volunteering, you will know that you are going to gain some experience with that particular boss of that particular organization or that particular company. That person is going to be your referee. That person is going to be somebody who's going to speak on your behalf. To be employable also, it is important for you to know that what you are doing, everything that you're doing as you're building your career, You are documenting. You are populating your CV. You are building networks. Just what you have learned. Have you taken time to even know who I am? For example, Dr. Joyce Kasapo was talking right now. Have you taken time to connect with her on LinkedIn? She is an HR expert here in Zambia. Problem is, you think that your job is only in Nigeria. I want you to just imagine one thing. If you had to, if 20 applications, were submitted, 19 of them are Zambian applications, and one application is Nigerian. What do you think will happen in that room as they are selecting the best five? I want you to know that they are going to be inquisitive by this particular application from Nigeria, where somebody wants. Problem is, you want to restrict yourself in an area. You are an international person. This is why you need to remove all the boundaries and all the borders and begin to set yourself as an international career person, an international professional person. And LinkedIn helps you to do that because you don't know who's watching. You have to take time. So go and connect with all your mentors. Go and connect with me. And when you connect with me, you will connect with other people that I already know. That is how you are going to sell yourself. To be employable, you have to be intentional. To be employable, you've got to learn what it is that they are looking for in the marketplace. What is it that they require in the marketplace? That is why you've got to choose what to say on social media. The very first thing that I would do when I choose those five names is to go and Google each and every name. I'll go and Google each and every name. And some of you, the things that you post on social media are the things that will backfire. So you need to watch what you are posting on social media platforms. You need to start behaving as you are preparing to go into the marketplace. You need to start molding yourself for the marketplace because social media has a tendency of bringing memories. So something you posted 5 years ago, you were insulting, and 5 years later it will pop up, and that's the time you are looking to be employed. So to be employable, you need to know that you've got to hold the career bull by its horn. The final question that I have here is that I'm a young woman who wants to finish my PhD first before I think of getting married. My friends tell me that that will be too late for me to get married because I'll be probably finishing my PhD when I'm almost getting to 30. What is your advice? Lovely question. Beautiful question. Do I have ladies in the house? Do I have young women in the house? Please, if you are hearing me, get to the chat and just, shout out there with an emoji just to show that you're an excited young woman I am about to address. It is important as a young girl. Listen to me, this is very, very important. It is important as a young girl to really, because the one was asked as a woman. So I'm going to single it out and answer it with that bracket. It is important as a single young woman to know that you've got to hold your career now. You've got to plan your life now. Whether you want to go to school, whether you want to get married, whatever it is that you want to choose to do, it is important for you to know that you are a woman, and therefore, because you're a woman, you may not have um, uh, the same terrain of the journey after you come out of school. This is what I mean. Let's take a young girl who gets married. Right now, you are in a relationship as a husband, as a student. Right now, you're in a relationship and you graduate, then you get married. This is what is going to happen. The young man has no much responsibilities. And you will see that soon the young man may do the masters whilst you remain getting pregnant. And when you finish getting pregnant, you are going to start breastfeeding. Meanwhile, your husband has finished his master's. Before you know it, your husband will apply for PhD. You will be having the second baby. That is why it is important as a young girl, because this is your body. And you've got to know and plan now, whilst you are still in school, what it is that you are thinking about when it comes to your life. Plan now. And if you'd love to have a PhD, do not be stopped. If that is the route you want to take, that first you've got to get the you've got to have first your PhD and all. Well and good, go for it. Do not listen to people who are going to discourage you. Go for it, but have a plan. If your choice is getting married, also have a plan in mind, because your husband, if he gets a scholarship, today is Sunday, he receives a scholarship tomorrow on Monday, he will be leaving on Tuesday, going to wherever he has to study. You as a woman, if you receive a scholarship on Monday, the whole village has to gather to discuss where you will leave your children. And why are you leaving your husband? If you leave your husband, he will marry another woman. So you've got to think twice. I have seen a lot of women, deny to go for scholarship and study, further studies because they've got children. Further studies because they are scared that their husbands will marry another woman. So that is why it is important that whilst you are still in school, you have to plan your life. You have to ensure that you plan your career life. When would you want to have children? When would you want to have masters? When would you want to, if you want to go as far as having a PhD, when are you going to do that? You cannot live life to space where somebody has to decide for you. You've got to make some decisions right now. And so you are so privileged. You are so privileged in doing this particular course because it has set you apart. It has made you to be a little different in your thought process. If I were you, I would still go back and listen to those videos again. The app will remain open and would like you to re-listen. Listen again. Do not just do the course for you to complete the course. Do the course because it has contributed to your understanding. Do that, CV again. Look at it again. Start preparing it and get to really master your career now, and hold your career book by the horn. Be intentional now. Maximize on time instead of spending time on TikTok and watching a series on TV and on Netflix and everything. Spend time right now curating your career. Ensuring that time you're supposed to be doing, watching TikTok, you are volunteering. You go and ask one of the lecturers, "Sir, may I please manage your social media platforms?" Because you have time on you. You don't have a lot of responsibilities right now because you are still in school. You don't have children. Most, if that is, if I'm talking into that bracket and all. So this is very, very important. Those are the few questions that we received from you. If there are any questions that maybe you have just thought about as we were talking here, please, you are welcome to send them to your to the mentors on duty, and we'll be able to even just continue having conversations as we'll be concluding with you by next week. I think you'll be able to even receive your certificates. Please, if you have any challenges, maybe you didn't post one of the assignments, do feel free to get in touch with the mentors on duty. Thank you so much for staying up with us, and thank you so much for all the answers you were giving. Thank you so much. God richly bless you. Shalom, shalom.